My biggest thing, this is what I always tell people. It's not that you need to cut out things. You need to add in the right things. Because when you add in the right things, it's going to be easier to cut out the bad things. And this is with any area in your life. If you're trying to change a habit, instead of fighting the old habit, you just build a new one in its place. And it's the same across the board with nutrition.
Welcome to another episode of the A1 Experience. I've got my guy, Mr. Mike Sheedy. Bro, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. Happy to be here.
So if you guys don't know Mike Sheedy, he was my trainer. He got me in shape for my wedding, which I'm super grateful for because that was a big special day. And but he hasn't only gotten me in better shape and has really blown me away with his knowledge and wisdom as it relates to health and fitness. Mike is an online coach who's coached over 1,000 people, but he specializes in helping busy entrepreneurs and high-performing individuals in getting them into sustainable shape. I say sustainable. Nice. Yep. So who is Mike Sheedy?
So yeah, I think you edified me, in a great way. So I appreciate that. But I've been in the fitness industry for 10 years. Started when I was 20, personal training. I did 12 bodybuilding competitions, so kind of ran the gamut of the extreme side of fitness. And then, a lot of me wanted to be successful. That's why I got into, bodybuilding, but I realized that wasn't necessarily the path that was going to make me the most amount of money. I mean, there's literally 1% of bodybuilders actually get paid from doing it, which people don't really understand. And you make more money from what you get outside of bodybuilding and the brand you create than actually in it. So from that, I was like, you know what, I'm going to focus on my business, but I still want to do fitness. So I really started going hard in my personal training business. And then, almost 2 years now, about a year and a half actually, I started online coaching, and I got into it because I felt that I was kind of stifled by being an in-person trainer. I could only work with, so many people, a day in the gym, and then online coaching was a way for me to expand my reach and also increase my income as well. So it's been an awesome year and a half of doing, online coaching, now working with people all across the country, and just, sharing my expertise, working with people that are just like myself. The clients I work with, a lot of them are entrepreneurs. A lot of them are guys just like, you and I, who run businesses, who want to perform at their highest level. And to do that, you really need to take care of your body. So that's kind of what I specialize in.
Yeah, when you posted, I kind of realized that I was your avatar when you said, looking for busy entrepreneurs who are looking to get into better shape. And I'm just like, man, that's me.
Yeah.
That's 100% me.
Yep.
So the first question I have for you, bro, is you've been vocal about this, so I have to ask.
Let's go.
What does someone not putting their shopping cart away say about them?
I mean, it's the number one, I would say, observance of self-governance, right? Like your ability to govern your own actions. And I think for me, it tells me how you do one thing is how you do everything. If you're going to not take the time to put your shopping cart back, I post this on my story. I would say anybody that's been following me for long enough knows that's my number one pet peeve. And if I see it, I've yet to see someone in person do it, because if someone did it in front of me, I would 100% say something. There's that Instagram cart narcs. I don't know if you've seen that. There's an Instagram that literally the guy goes around and he will go up. He films himself going up to people and saying, "Hey, you're gonna put your cart back," and it's hilarious. I don't have all that time to sit in a parking lot and do that. But yeah, I just think it's a discipline thing. I think, if you're not going to put your cart back, you're not going to wipe your own butt. I don't know. I think it's weird,
It's how you do something.
Yeah, it's how you do everything. Yeah.
So I had to ask that. I want to know, what is it or what happened in your life that made you go all in on health and fitness to this level that you're doing it now? I mean, you're a product of what you provide, you're offering to the world.
Yes, sir.
You're freaking shredded.
Yeah.
But not only shredded, I think you have a lot of energy. Every time I see you, you have more energy than me, and I have a pretty good amount of energy.
Solid.
And what what are the things that led to this?
You know, that's a great question, dude. Going like way back, when I was 17 years old, I got super sick. I lost like 30 pounds because I could barely eat. Come to find out, I had to get my gallbladder removed because it wasn't functioning properly. When that event happened, you know, it was a tough time going into my senior year of high school. I was like 6 feet tall, 150 pounds from not being able to eat. Got my gallbladder removed. That's when I really started getting into working out because I needed to put weight on. So I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna work out. I'm gonna start eating. So I just ate as much food as possible. Started putting on muscle. And I was like, okay, like I'm starting to look good. Girls started noticing. That was like a major motivating factor. I was like, all right, girls like this. I'm gonna keep doing it. Anyway, so then I just started falling in love with like the process of the discipline that it takes to build muscle, to get in the gym, to eat. And I wanted to further expand my knowledge on specifically the fact that I didn't have a gallbladder. I was missing an organ. So I couldn't do what everybody else could do when it comes to nutrition because I partition basically fats differently. When you don't have a gallbladder, your body doesn't digest fats the same way everybody else does. So for that reason, I was like, you know what? I want to learn. How do I learn? Well, I need to educate myself at the highest level. Who has the most knowledge? Personal trainers and nutrition coaches. So I went and I got a personal training book. I bought the whole course, not to become a personal trainer, but to educate myself personally. Read through the whole book, took notes, took the test, passed, and that's where I started kind of to gain that knowledge and expertise. Then I got fired from a job and I was like, all right, well, I have a personal training certification. Let me do this. Went and got a job at Gold's Gym. I was making $8 a session at Gold's Gym, which was like, you know, which was nothing. But it was something that I could do with my time. Figured out that I loved helping people on their journey just as much as I've helped myself on mine. And kind of just from there took one step in front of the other. I had a mentor that was teaching me, you know, personal training at the time and how to run a business. And then slowly but surely gained more, you know, credibility through building my, you know, personal brand on Instagram. And, you know, kind of that's long story short, you know, led us here to where we are today. Yeah.
Gotcha. Why do you like working with entrepreneurs the most?
Because
as far as helping them.
So two reasons why. Number one, I've had the most success with them. And the reason I've had the most success with people that typically over prioritize their business or their finances is they completely neglect their health. And in turn, they end up becoming unhappy, you know, with the way they look and the way they feel. So for me, an easy way, it's been really easy to go, okay, hey, that same intention that you put into making money, that same intention you put into building your business is the same intention and focus you put into your body, and you get rewarded for that, just like you do in business. The work you put in is what you get out. The work you put into your body is what you get out. So I can make that comparison for them really easily, implement these habits and give them structure. And a lot of people that are successful in business or in entrepreneurship, they have the prerequisites. They need to be in enough pain to change, which is when I work with them, right? Somebody's like, hey, you know, I don't feel good, I need to change. Or, hey, I don't have the answers, I want to level up. That's number one. Then number two, I give them the structure, which I've been able to replicate after doing it for the last 10 years and seeing success with it. And they have the discipline, and I just hold them accountable and I make it happen. So I love working with entrepreneurs because they already have the prerequisites in some areas. They're just missing the structure and intention with their health and fitness. And I am my avatar. I am somebody who is running a business. I have 100 clients. You know, I have 100 clients that I work with all across the country. I have people that work for me. I have to have good habits because if I don't, I can't show up for the people that work for me and I can't show up for my clients. So it's really relatable what I do, and my habits, I practice what I preach. That's why I have conviction when I speak to other people.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. This has kind of been going around on social media. You're seeing Andy Elliott, this big sales guy.
Yeah.
People take their shirts off in front of people.
Yeah.
And it's kind of controversial. Half the comments are like this tool and roasting him and talking about his tight pants, whatever.
Yeah.
And then you got the other half that are like, yeah, I kind of align with the more of the you know. And reason I ask is I want to ask you, do you trust people that are overweight? Because in the sense that oh, if they can't take care of themselves, they won't take care of what makes me think they're going to take care of me.
Yeah.
You know, I know it's kind of an extreme.
Yeah. I honestly, I like Andy Elliott's message. I think it's a great message, and we need more of that. You know, more people who are calling people out, you know, more people who are holding others accountable versus just allowing them to have, you know, negative habits that are the reason why they're where they're at. I think the main reason why anybody is not happy in any area is they're lacking responsibility. So if you can get somebody to take responsibility, they will elevate in that area. That being said, somebody who is overweight and definitely has character deficits, I would say 100%. There's something in their character that isn't the best, and that's why they're overweight. You know, you got to take responsibility for your health. Do I think you need to be jacked out of your mind and like veins coming out? No, but you should definitely be in good
You
health.
also shouldn't be however many pounds over
Yeah.
the weight that, you know, is,
Yeah.
I guess, average for that person.
Yeah, and but that being said, I've also worked with guys
There's
who
also a lot of things that we're not considering. There's some sort of, you know, could be diseases or,
right.
or
So
you know, injuries.
yeah, I mean, but that's more likely. That's less likely. You know, I would say 90% of the people who are overweight or out of shape, it is their own doing. It is their own choices who've gotten there. Even if they have disease, they put themselves in that position to have that disease, especially type 2 diabetes, which is caused by poor lifestyle habits.
Yeah.
You know. So that being said, I've also worked with guys who are out of shape and overweight who are worth 8-9 figures.
Right.
So it's not to say you can't be successful and you can't make a lot of money and be out of shape, because you can. But let me tell you this: their quality of life for sure suffers. Their energy, the way they feel, the way they're perceived by the people around them, without a doubt suffers. Do I believe that they could run the businesses that they run and also be in good shape at the same time? Without a doubt. You don't need to be a bodybuilder to be able to be in good shape. You can eat healthier and make better decisions. A lot of them are just choosing to drink alcohol, eat sugar all the fucking time. I know it because I work with them, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's anyway.
You get an inside scoop.
Yeah,
of
yeah,
things that they're eating.
yeah, 100%, yeah.
You know, for sure. When I was working with you, you know, there was some stretches where I was afraid to send progress pics. I'm like, man, I could lie, or I could tell him X, Y, and Z, but numbers don't lie at the end of the day, because I'm going to see you next week. I'm going to step on the scale. You're going to check my body fat, and I mean, the numbers will do all the talking for me. So, I feel very passionate about being in shape and
Love it.
and also not just being successful in business. I created a brand, Barbells and Briefcases. We had an Olympia booth and a podcast with it, and that was all stemmed from being at a corporate meeting once upon a time, where I'm looking at all the managers around the table, and all of them looked just unhealthy. They looked overweight, stressed out over the numbers. And I remember thinking to myself, like, I don't want to become that. I would rather be half as successful, but thriving with energy and feeling my best, and with half the money, if that's what it took. Right. So, but I love that you think we can have it all. What are some ways that people can increase their energy?
Exercising, straight up, you know what I mean? But also staying away from things. I think like there's a few low hanging fruits, right? Like number one is definitely sleep, right? So that's like the lowest hanging fruit for energy, period. So a lot of people, it's not that they're not getting enough sleep. They're not good at going to sleep, right? So they're staying up watching TV. They're staying up doing things that they shouldn't, when they just need to shut it down a little bit earlier. And then, you know, that's the answer to the reason why you're not getting quality sleep. And a lot of people also don't get enough sun exposure, and that's why a lot of people have poor sleep as well. So I think lack of sun exposure 100% is affecting circadian rhythm, which eventually, you know, impacts sleep quality, which then impacts your mood. A lot of people have sugar cravings during the day because they're not getting good sleep at night, right? So that's one thing I always prioritize. Like I have a more boring life than Instagram seems to believe. You know, if you look at from the outside in, you're like, oh, he's doing this, he's doing that. Dude, most nights I'm by myself, like going to sleep early so I could wake up early, you know. That being said, I think sleep quality is number one. Like if you could do that, your health is going to improve.
How many hours?
Honestly, 7. Like you can get 7 hours and be solid. Anything less than 7, you know, I don't believe in getting less sleep to be more productive. You're less productive. You're less productive during the day if your mind is
Are some people freaks in nature? Because I look at The Rock, and The Rock makes it seem like he doesn't sleep and he just gets by through naps. That's my assumption.
Yeah.
But is there something?
I mean, there's definitely one-offs, but I think a lot of people do that. They compare their morning routines to Tony Robbins. They compare, their ability to get sleep to The Rock, right? And I don't know what his structure is, or Mark Wahlberg wakes up at like 3:30 a.m. I tried to do the 3:30 a.m. wake up time and I felt like shit.
Yeah.
I personally feel the best when I'm up at between 5:30 and 6 a.m. right? I don't think your wake up time determines your success. I don't think you getting less sleep determines your success. What do you do when you're awake? That determines your success, right? So like sleep quality is super important for productivity. That's like low hanging fruit. I would say second thing to increase your energy that a lot of people can do without doing anything new is eat less processed sugar and eat less processed ingredients, right? Trans fats, corn syrup, all those things and additives to food. If you just simply stop eating a lot of bullshit, right, your energy levels will increase exponentially.
Everything has ingredients now. Like I was at Foodie Fit last week, and I remember looking at the ingredients of even the Egg McMuffins. Mm-hmm. And I remember seeing like a paragraph like this long, almost like 3 paragraphs worth of ingredients. And I'm like, how does an protein McMuffin have this many ingredients? It's like, it just should be just bread and egg and sausage.
And that's, that's what a lot of people, they don't read labels. They just look at the front and they see healthy X, Y, and Z, or they see low calorie X, Y, and Z. So when you're at the grocery store, you should be shopping for whole ingredients, or if you're looking at a product, you look on the back. If it has more than 3 or 4 ingredients on it, typically that's going to be something that you want to avoid because it's going to have hidden ingredients that are disrupting your gut health, which could affect your energy. It does have processed, sugars in it, which do affect your mental health as well. I mean, like those type of sugars also affect your mood, anxiety, depression, sleep quality, other things as well. But yeah, so.
Speaking of sleep, I just had this question. My buddy brought it up. He said, people that think that smoking weed helps them sleep better, he says it's actually not true. Mm-hmm. It doesn't help you sleep better. You're not actually falling into a deeper REM sleep. Mm-hmm. That's why you don't dream when you're smoking weed. Do you have any intel on that?
Yeah, dude. What's interesting? THC and how it affects your brain and also sleep cycles. It's something that I've looked into because if you smoke marijuana or you consume it in some way right before you go to sleep, let's say within 30 to 45 minutes, it will without a doubt affect sleep quality, and it does affect your REM sleep. A lot of people think it's helping them to get deeper sleep because they fall asleep easier because it makes them tired, but your sleep quality is actually affected. You're not getting as deeper REM sleep, and you won't dream as much as well. I'm not totally against marijuana use, right? Medicinally speaking, it does have properties that are better than, let's say, painkillers, if that's what you're going to use it for. However, I would do it away from your sleep time if it's later in the day, if that's when you're going to do it, but not right. If you're doing it right before you go to bed, it's not helping you to get better sleep. It's helping you to fall asleep, but your REM sleep is affected, and you're going to feel groggy probably in the morning.
I find it hard for me to eat as much, like to hit my protein goal. It's really not easy for me. I can probably eat 2 meal preps. They range between 30 to 40 grams of protein. That's 80 grams right there. Mm-hmm. And I could have a protein shake, maybe that's 30 right there. That's 110. I struggle with hitting the remainder, and I'm about 200 pounds right now.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. I'm 10 pounds over the wedding. But, we could talk about that.
Yeah.
I know you're a big proponent of eating a steak. You're always posting, grass fed and stuff like that.
Yeah, big on that.
How can people? Well, why should people focus on hitting their protein goal?
Right.
And 2, how do you hit your protein goal?
Yeah. So your goal right now is what, 200 grams of protein a day?
Roughly.
Yeah. So
right now I'm winging it, bro. So.
Are you? That's fine. Thanks for your transparency. Are you eating breakfast?
I've been fasting.
That's part of your problem, right? Like I'm not against fasting. I've done a lot of fasting. I've done a lot of intermittent fasting. But when it comes to your total metabolism, right, which a lot of people have slow metabolisms because one day they'll eat 1 or 2 meals, And then the next day, if it's a Friday night and then it's a Saturday, they're going ham on the weekend, right? That's a lot of like busy people. Typically, it's the Friday nights, it's the Saturdays during the day, but during the week they're busy. They're crushing a protein bar and drinking coffee and a Red Bull to get by, right? And yeah, you're not hitting your protein goal during the week, so your body doesn't know what the fuck it's doing. It's gonna just hold on to fat, right? So what I could say is an easy tip to hit your protein goal is to start eating earlier in the day. Like number one, like eat breakfast, like
Steak and eggs for
just
breakfast.
eat. Yeah, I mean something high in protein. I always go lower carb in the morning. I don't eat a very heavy carbohydrate
See,
for breakfast.
I saw Hermosi just posted what he's doing for to hit this like protein goal, and it's like protein bar and protein shake first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
I really struggle with putting that processed stuff in me.
No, same, dude.
I
Same.
think there's a difference. Like just logically thinking, it can't be good as the natural stuff. Like just maybe 12 eggs or what have you.
I haven't had protein shakes regularly in 5 years. I don't drink protein shakes at all, and there's two reasons for that. One, it's not as high quality of a nutrient as a whole food. If I was going to eat chicken, turkey, steak, salmon, eggs.
What about the proteins that are like 4 ingredients? I've seen a lot of those. They taste a lot better.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing: if you're struggling to hit your protein goal, protein shake and a protein powder, that's third party tested for quality as a supplement is fine, right? However, you're always going to be better off with whole foods. And I don't drink protein shakes because I know that whole food is better for me, number one, and I don't digest protein powders well. Like you said, like I used to try to do them in the morning and my stomach would feel like
all day long.
Like I'd have the bubble guts for like, a good hour after. So I think it's super important to hit your protein. I mean, number one, like if anybody is trying to straight up increase their energy, increase their metabolism, which we should all work to have a faster metabolism, which means our body utilizes our nutrients instead of storing it as fat. And you also want to ward off cravings, right? A big reason why people crave sugar, crave sweets, or want things that are high in calories, that are hedonistic in value, is because they are not eating enough protein, carbs, and fats, right? So when you eat enough protein, you're going to have more energy. You're going to need less Red Bulls and coffees. Half the entrepreneurs I work with are crushing caffeine all day because they don't have enough energy, and it's not because they're tired from work, it's because they don't have the discipline to eat enough food that provides the nutrients for the body that they need.
Yeah. It's always interesting that if you eat enough of the right foods, you can eat a lot of it. Mm-hmm. But you eat enough of the bad foods. Like if I have an In-N-Out double, animal style fries, Diet Coke, right? I'm going to be full all day. If I have Indian food, I'm going to be full for like hours.
Yep.
But if I have a meal prep, 50 grams of protein, whatever the rest are, I'll be hungry again in 2 to 3 hours.
Yeah. Because it seems like a lot of food, but it's actually not a ton of calories, right? But that's our bodies thrive on eating nutrient-dense foods in a volume amount that's low in calories. That helps to lower your blood sugar, right? But just it's my biggest thing. This is what I always tell people. It's not that you need to cut out things. You need to add in the right things. Because when you add in the right things, it's going to be easier to cut out the bad things. And that's the biggest. I took a certification for behavioral change, specifically with food. It's not, and this is with any area in your life. If you're trying to change a habit, instead of fighting the old habit, you just build a new one in its place. And it's the same across the board with nutrition, right? So that's the easiest.
It's very true that the more you tell yourself, like, I can't have pizza, I can't have burgers, you want pizza and burgers and sushi.
Just eat more protein. Eat more protein.
So, testosterone. What are some indicators that men have lost step and they perhaps need to consider getting their blood work done? And, like, what are some of the things that stand out to make a man maybe want to go check that out if they've maybe hit a plateau or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, good question, dude. I think this is, a great topic, and I think it's become more recently than not. People are talking about hormonal replacement, and it's becoming more mainstream to get peptides and I mean, I talked about it on the podcast I was on with Ryan Pineda and even with Brad a couple years ago. That being said, or last year, it seems like it was longer. But that being said, I love that it's becoming more of a conversation for men and women, but men specifically, to get their blood work done, to get panels done to see where they're at, because you may not know it, but it could be the reason why you have low energy, right? It could be you could have poor sleep. You could not be losing body fat, not be gaining muscle because you haven't got blood work done and found out that you have low testosterone, even with lifestyle intervention like eating better, getting better sleep. If your hormones are impacted because of age, that's typically when men start to get older, let's say over 35. Let's just say it's a little bit earlier now than it used to be because of our environment. Our environment right now is setting up everybody for failure when it comes to their health, right? The microplastics that you're consuming from all of the products, the contaminants and heavy metals in water, whether it's tap water or in your shower, as well as, everything else, perfumes, colognes, and things like that, heavily reduce your testosterone production and affect your endocrinology. So men at earlier ages now are seeing lower natural testosterone production, which are affecting their motivation, their mood, their sleep, productivity, body fat, lean muscle mass, strength, libido. So without a doubt, it's something that I think any man, if you are experiencing those symptoms or you're over, let's just say 30, we'll go a little bit lower, you should get a full comprehensive panel done to see where you're at. And, when you see it and if you are low on testosterone, peptides are something that's become very popular, because what you're doing is you're putting an amino acid, which is a peptide, into your body that tells your body to produce more of a hormone. But I'm also a big fan of straight up TRT as testosterone replacement therapy. If you have lower testosterone, because you're already making it in your body, just not enough, you're replacing it, and your quality of life goes way up. Like, I know guys who are doing really, really well in their life financially, who were doing well prior, but they had low testosterone. They got on testosterone after they got their blood work done, and now they feel like on top of the world.
Right.
So it makes a massive difference to your quality of life when your hormones are,
Sleep too, right?
are regulated.
Like, it helps you sleep.
100%. Yeah. There's
Do a little
people
bit of
like I've had
everything, yeah.
clients that get on. I mean, I've been doing this now for a long time. I've seen a lot of different blood work. I recently partnered with Merrick Health, actually, which is co-founded by Derek from More Plates, More Dates, and one of the first things that I've heard clients say in the past, and people that I've worked with that get on TRT, is they start having vivid dreams. Like, that is a good indicator. Like, if you're having vivid dreams, that means you're getting deep sleep. And typically when you're on TRT, you get better sleep as well.
I started TRT right before my honeymoon, or shortly after.
Yeah.
Tested my levels. We talked about this.
Yeah, I remember.
My levels were like in the 300s. I was like, I'll try it again after my wedding.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably a fluke.
Yeah.
I probably didn't get enough sleep.
Right.
And then I got it retested 8 months later. It was like 400, still below where I should have been.
100%. Yeah.
And so I'm on it for 2 months, working out, all things the same. And I go to Japan and then Japan followed by Italy. I'm eating really good. And now and for my wedding, you got me in wedding shape. I was supposed to be like 184. It was the target that you set for me.
Yeah.
I got to 192.
Yeah,
floating around
we got close.
191.
We made some good progress. Yeah.
And now I'm at like 203.
Okay. Yeah.
and a part of me, I feel like I'm doing a lot of things the same.
Right.
And a part of me wonders if that's just a TRT that I just can't shake that. I don't know if I can get back to 191. I know I can.
Yeah.
But is it the TRT or what is it?
Yeah. I mean, the reason, like, weight gain as well. Yeah.
Everything else hasn't changed. My diet's for the most part the same.
I think your diet's shit, personally.
Yeah. Talk to me.
I'm just being honest with you. So, like, I'm not gonna, sit here and be super critical, but yeah, when you are on testosterone, you're gonna gain weight from muscle, right? So you probably have, and you look good. I mean, I walked in, you look muscular, right? So I think you probably put on, solid 8 pounds of muscle, which is good, but your diet could probably, be a little tighter, and you could probably expend some more energy, to drop your body fat. I think overall, to me, you look healthy, but it just depends. I always ask people, how do you want to look and how do you want to feel? And that's exactly how you should eat, and that's also how you should train. It's funny because people think testosterone or TRT or steroids is going to be what gets you in magical shape. Based on your experience, is that true?
No.
You still have to get on a diet. You still have to get good sleep. You still have to train hard, right? So I always ask my clients, how do you want to eat, or how do you want to look? What's your goal physique? What's your goal body composition? And also, how do you want to feel? And that's exactly how you should eat, and that's exactly how you should train. If your goal is to lose weight, you should be in a calorie deficit, right? If you're eating 110 grams of protein a day, I'll just tell you, your diet isn't 100% on point. So I'm gonna call you out on that. But and then if you're trying to lose body fat, you need to burn more calories as well, and you should be doing resistance training, right?
I'm probably doing 150 grams of protein, maybe, but it's not consistent. I'm still not tracking my macros. Have you gotten to a point to where you don't need to track? You just know what you're eating. You dialed in.
Yeah. I mean, dude, I've had a nutrition coach literally for 10 years, and I have a nutrition coach and a trainer right now. So I think
you're not too. You don't have it all figured out.
I do. No, I do have it figured out.
But I guess it's like a humble to still have coaches.
I like to have somebody who looks over my stuff, who tells me, hey, this is what you should be doing, and here's your structure, and follow it. I'm really big on structure and accountability, and I think all great coaches have coaches, right? Like every single person most people that are at a high level have a coach of some sort. So I like having a business coach. I have a nutrition coach. I have a personal trainer. That being said, I usually I can eyeball things. Like I can tell you, just because I do it for my clients, all right, that's 30 grams of protein, that's 30 grams of carbs, that's 10 grams of fat. Like I know all the numbers off the top of my head, but my coach just gives me hey, today, for example, today is my off day from resistance training. I'm just doing cardio. So I'm doing off day calories. I don't know what the protein, carbs, and fats are. I just know that I have to eat 6 ounces of protein for this amount of meals, 4 ounces of carbs for this amount of meals.
Yeah.
And I just kind of, planned it out. So
let me ask you this. Do you plan on having kids?
Yeah.
How different do you think it will change when you have wife and kids? Because I know a lot of people probably watching this like, man, it's easy for you. This is your livelihood, right?
Yeah.
But I got 3 kids. I barely have the energy when I, get home. I got to spend time with my wife. And I think that's what the majority of people are thinking.
Yeah.
What's your advice to them, or how do you plan on attacking that later? Say in the future you have 3 kids or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, how do you know I don't have kids? I could have kids. No, I'm joking. I mean, I think but I didn't introduce that. I didn't introduce it to the audience. Yeah, I don't have kids. I'm not married. I'm single. But I've worked with quite a lot of clients who have kids, whether it's newborns, whether I had 2 clients that had 7 kids, and they were able to get in incredible shape. Mm-hmm. So I always use that as an example. If they can do it and have a job, I know that you can do it. I just think it comes down to priority. If anything, my thought for myself is, and I'm going to put 100% responsibility in the parents' hands, it's even more important that you focus on your health when you're a parent, because your kids are looking at you as an example. You and your habits also influence your energy when you're around your family. So if anything, I think I'll have more purpose both in my personal habits and my business and every area of my life when I have kids.
Yeah.
If I care about them.
Right. Yeah. And it's crazy. I just saw this post yesterday of, it's like, why are my kids always sick? And then it shows like this whole collage of all the things that we're feeding kids. And it's like just not real food.
Right.
It's just, it's crazy because I grew up off of like Cheerios. I grew up off of this. And then to read the side, and it's like genetically modified or what do they call it?
Yeah.
What do they say on the side, the label?
Artificial. I mean, they just pulled. I was listening to something on Instagram. I saw something about Lunchables being served in cafeterias, but it was recently found that there's a lot of lead and other contaminants in Lunchables because of how processed they are, which is crazy. Like you said, growing up, we ate all this stuff. So I can't wait to break. I don't want to say a generational curse, but I'm so much more educated when it comes to nutrition and exercise and all this. When I have kids, I am going to influence them through my own habits. They're going to see me eating healthy, and they're going to want to do it too. They're going to see me working out. And I think that's the biggest thing. 70% of parenting is setting an example through your own personal habits. One of my clients, he's already lost 25 pounds in the past 3 months. Great guy. And he has a son, and he's like, my son now, he's 8 years old, and he started eating an apple every day because he sees his dad eating an apple every day. He's like, Dad, I have to eat an apple. Like, how cool is that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just a
That's
little thing.
inspiring, right?
Yeah. I selfishly wanted a son. We're having a daughter in July, and
Yes,
I wanted a son because
yeah.
I just wanted to like work
Of
out
course.
with a little
Yeah,
guy,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know. But I'm pretty sure, you know, my daughter will see me working out,
Yeah,
and
dude.
she'll just pick up on that stuff.
Yeah.
I have a question. So this is more of a personal one for me. Is I struggle sometimes with, I think when it comes to eating, like I love animals. So sometimes I go down the rabbit hole and I see these videos of like how the cows are like kind of like slaughtered in mass and animals. And then I see other, you know, farmers, they pop up on my feed, and the way that these animals are, they're literally dogs. Like cows literally act like dogs sometimes, you know, and they have personalities and that sometimes is a mental hurdle for me as far as like sometimes I don't see myself going vegan.
Yeah.
Definitely not. But it makes me want to limit how much red meat I'm eating. And then you hear, oh, grass-fed isn't even grass-fed anymore, it's grass-finished. And so it's like just because you see something say grass-fed, it's not even actually that. And what do you stick with? Like, what is right? What is...
Yeah, I mean, but so I think there's two schools of thought. Like, one is like when you hear like a lot of the information we're getting, I would say, is misinformation on social media, whether it's on Instagram, TikTok. A lot of people
just trying to go viral,
it's
right?
clickbait. Yeah, it's clickbait. A lot of times, I stay away from that. I don't put out content that's clickbait. You know. That being said, if you trust but verify, right? So if you can't verify that what you're getting is 100% grass-fed, grass-finished, yeah, you're get it from a farm. If you get a cow from a farm, like, and you can go get that and you can do that, you can't buy it at a grocery store. Yeah, that's how you're going to get grass-fed, grass-finished, right? Otherwise, you can't verify it 100%. But getting as close to that as possible, I think, is the best answer. And you're not going to be able to avoid every single, obstacle when it comes to the maybe how you value that animal's life. For me personally, like, you're a better man than I am because I don't really think about the animal, when I try not to, right? But because I know that like there's a hierarchy on the food chain and like we are there and I don't care who you are.
When you watch these animal videos, the way that the animals kill each other makes me feel better about it.
Yeah. Like
ruthless.
Nature is Metal.
Oh my goodness.
That Instagram account's wild. Yeah.
I always try to be like one of the first ones to comment on it to make it go to see if I get the most viral comment. And you see some wild stuff on those things, and it makes you feel like less bad. But I don't know if there's
a cycle of life. It's a cycle of life. Humans were not the way that we are constructed, both with our teeth and with our internal systems. We weren't made to strictly consume a plant-based diet.
Right.
We're omnivores. We're supposed to consume animal products and plant products as well.
Mm-hmm. So you just like Sprouts, it's like your go-to, grass-fed?
Yeah, I love. I think you've asked me that before. Yeah, I like Sprouts. Sprouts here is great. I like Whole Foods. You can go farm to table. There's some great websites that you can, Force of Nature, Butcher Box. There's a couple websites like that have great farm to table sources. But yeah, I always do grass fed. I try to go as organic as possible with everything that I purchase.
I'm on a just eat real foods kick.
Yeah,
just real food. If it's not real, just stay away from it.
Yeah.
And
I mean, it's easier said than done, but you can't go wrong with that, right? Like it's an easy analogy. Like if you shop, your shopping trip should be around the outside of the grocery store. That's how you're in the clear. If you're on the inside aisles, that's where all the processed ingredients are.
This is a question I got for you. What's an aha moment that you've had in your business that's allowed you to scale recently? You're a man that you've done a lot of. You reinvest in yourself in a big way. You're at masterminds. You're at speaking. You're at networking events, and I like doing the same. But is there something like an aha moment that's something that's helped you scale recently?
I think the biggest points of scale for me, and I think it's something I still work on, is like giving up tasks to other people. And it's like, I think as an entrepreneur, we want to own every single task. We want to do everything in our business because we know we do it best. But giving something up to somebody else, even if it's not 100%, if you have somebody else do something for you, even at 80% of what you were capable of doing it at least they did it for you, and now you bought your time back. So I think for me, buying my time back through hiring, people in places that can do things for me, so I can focus on moving the needle forward, has been, a big aha and scale moment for me in the past like 2 or 3 years. And then you nailed it. I think investing in education, masterminds and proximity has been big for me.
Okay. And what's something you've learned recently regarding regarding social media that's helping you grow? Because you've done some good things.
Yeah.
What are some things that are helping you grow on social media?
Thanks, bro. I always, one thing that's helped me to grow on social media is understanding my audience and who I'm talking to. I think a lot of people try to speak to a very broad audience because it's two things. Either they don't have certainty on who they're speaking to, or they're afraid to offend a certain part of the population, right? So for me, I picked an audience that I want to speak to, and then I deliver value to them in the form of solving a problem by providing a solution in my content, and that's how I've been able to gain more followers and generate value in an audience.
What do you find that you're pissing off? Because I'm not pissing off enough people. That's my thing. It's like I'm realizing that I'm not controversial enough.
No, and that's something that I've also been transparently struggling with recently, because I am becoming more outspoken. I think just in time, as I've gone down this journey, I realized you can't please everybody. Somebody's not going to like you, but if you do nothing, you're never going to amount to anything, right? So for me, I'm going to pick a path. I'm going to do it. If you align with those values and views, great. And if you don't, that's also fine. So, I'm probably pissing off small-minded people. That's okay.
Yeah. Before I get into my last question, just want to acknowledge you. Just thank you for getting me in wedding shape. Thank you for the work that you're doing. I think you're spreading good information.
Thank you, dude. I appreciate that.
There's so many people in the health and fitness space that are just spitting out things that, like you said, it's kind of clickbait.
Right.
It kind of serves their agenda in a way, right? Vegans, they're going to promote these documentaries about not eating meat, and it causes inflammation, all this stuff. I don't think, when I see your content, there's not really an agenda. It's just kind of your truth, and I know it just makes sense. So just want to acknowledge you for that.
Thank you, bro.
Your friendship, and jumping on this podcast and sharing the value with my audience.
Thanks, brother.
And last question is, the definition of A1 is of the highest standards, of the highest qualities. What are 3 standards that you live your life by?
3 standards would be authenticity, number 1. Number 2 would be purpose. And number 3 would be discipline.
Okay.
Yeah, those would be my 3 standards I live my life by.
Okay.
Yeah.
How can people be more disciplined?
You can be more disciplined by having a purpose, right? So I think that's, I literally have it tattooed on my arm right here, right? Purpose, what is your purpose? That was one thing I had to ask myself before I started to really generate more momentum in my life was, why am I doing this? What reason do I have to try harder, right? Because a lot of people do the bare minimum. Well, I feel like it's for 2 reasons. 1, they don't know what their purpose is, or 2, they're unhappy because they know what their purpose is and they're not living up to it. Right? So when you have a defined purpose, I want to one day have a family that I can provide for in a way that I wasn't provided for, and I know I need to be that man. Well, then the work, you have a why to do the work. So discipline comes with purpose. And then once you start to have discipline, and then you get feedback from being rewarded for your discipline, it's easier to have discipline.
Yeah. It's like when you're serving something bigger than you, you're more willing and likely to be accountable to it and disciplined to it. I love it, bro. Well, how can people find you if they want to connect with you on social and or change their life, both in health and fitness?
Love it. Michael Sheedy Fitness, that's Instagram. That's really where, I'm posting a lot of content and I'm very active on. Probably will start a YouTube channel, later this year. But yeah, Michael Sheedy Fitness. That's where anybody can find me. That's my business card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His business card is also his transformations. You got to see his clients. I mean, that's literally what attracted me in the beginning was okay, if he's turning this guy from this to that, then I can only imagine what'll happen for me. So,
Awesome.
Michael Sheedy, thank you so much, brother. I appreciate you.
Yeah, I appreciate you, bro. Thank you.